Hello, I'm Anthony from Sure Shot Archery, and what I have here is Easton X10 arrow case. Well, it's empty because I've been trying to put the arrows together, but this is what they came in, which is pretty sweet because, you know, in the past I bought other arrows and they usually just come in a, plastic, wrapping. It's alright, it does its job. But this, they were nicely bundled, it had the safety warning instructions, but it looked really professional, and it kind of made you feel kind of good about spending like $500 on arrows. And you kind of say, wow, these are state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line, best thing you can buy type of deal. So that was actually a really impressive, showing by Easton. But what I have here is the Easton X10. Extremely thin, extremely light. You can actually see the barrel. It's shorter on either ends, and then it gets slightly thicker in the middle, giving it, of course, the ultimate design in stability and wind resistance. So today I'm going to show you my setup of how I'm setting up my arrows. I have the 2-grain Easton G-pin nocks. I have the 120 grain stainless steel points. I did not go for the tungsten because they're upwards of $200 for a dozen of them, and that's out of the price range. If Easton would like to send me some, I would gladly accept them. And a pin knock. 8-grain pin knock. So right now I'm going to be placing the pin knock into the back of the arrow shaft so that we can get this rolling, so we can go cut them and do all that other good stuff to them. So I'm going to fire up the old flamethrower. Try not to burn the house down. Okay, I'm just going to grab my pair of needle noses and my pin knock. What I have here, I picked it up from my local shooting shop, Tips Hardware. This is low heat, high impact glue. What this is great for is it allows me to mess around with these arrows more than once. So if I shoot them and they don't feel like they're really tuned into the bow correctly, I can go back, take the arrows, take the points and the nocks out without causing any damage to the shaft. So we're just going to heat that up, twist, and in. Now we got some residue on the end there, so we want to clean that off because we want to keep this real nice and clean, real streamlined. Helps with the aerodynamics, and of course we're trying to keep all the arrows the same exact grains. So right there we have an installed arrow insert, so that later we can put on the pin. So this is my set. This is step 1. And step 2 would be putting on the nocks themselves on top of the inserts. I'll turn off this flamethrower here before we burn something down, and we're going to move on to the second step. Okay, now we're going to go to the second step, and we're going to put the pin nocks onto the inserts. Now, when I got these parts in from Easton, it did not come with one of these jigs to put the pins on, which I was kind of surprised, but luckily I had one on hand. So the pin itself actually just fits right inside to help it for easy installation on the arrow shaft. Now personally, when I install pin nocks onto arrow shafts, I like to align them with something. So the last 3 I have aligned them with the Easton X10 through here all the way to the USA. So I'm going to just slip this on. I'm going to line it up, make sure we're nice and straight. Then what I'm going to do is going to flip it like this, and gently, but with some force, just press down. And voila! Look at that. We have a nice pin knock attached to the knock insert, and it's aligned with the USA so that when we click this onto the bow, it'll be just like that. And it matches the other ones. You always try to keep everything nice and consistent, nice and even. That way when you go and fletch later on, it's much easier, there's no mistakes, and of course when you're shooting later on, everything always looks the same, always is the same, and of course that helps you, do the most accurate shooting you can. So now we have our nock inserts in and our nocks on, so it's time for step 2. We're going to cut the arrows down to the correct length so that they match the clicker when we shoot them and they match the spine that they are meant to be. So this is an arrow that I have already pre-measured, and I have preset the arrow saw outside. You must do this first before you cut the arrows, or you're just going to be wasting your money. So we're going to come outside this way through the palm tree forest. Outside here we have the outdoor-indoor archery range. We'll have to do a video on that later on. I'm going to come down here to the old garage to go and cut the arrows. Now, the saw I use is it's an Apple archery saw. Very fair price. Works extremely well. It's not too loud, but this may get a little noisy because of the vacuum I'm using to suck up the carbon dust. So we're going to turn the vacuum on. This is how loud the aerosol itself is. Pretty quiet until you turn on the vacuum. There we go, got a nice cut shaft. We just gotta bore out the center a little bit because of the residue. I'm actually just using the points of a Phillips head. It actually works quite well. And just stick it in there and twist it. Smooth that all nice and out. Voila, nice cut arrow shaft. Step 2, or next step, will be putting in the tips. Okay, now we're back from the garage with our cut arrow shaft, or cut X10, and now we're going to put on the 120 grain tips. So we're going to fire up our flamethrower. Oh boy. Okay, you can use pliers for this. I'm just going to use these pair of needle nose pliers. Going to heat this up. Going to use our low heat, high impact glue. Put some on there. Heat that up nice. And we're going to put it into the arrow. I'm going to spin a little just to make sure we distribute it evenly. Okay, and now let's wipe off the excess. Voila! Look at that. Now we have the tip in our Easton X10. Next step will be put it on the fletchings. We're going to be using spin wings. Now that we have the built arrow, we need to finish it off with some fletchings. So, I'm just going to put this arrow into my fletching jig here. Put on this. Okay. Now I'm going to use a Sharpie and I'm going to draw the lines for where I'm going to place the tape to put on my Elite Spin Wings by Range-O-Matic. Put a line here. Draw. Okay, there we go. It's one. That'll be the main vein. Two. There we have it. Then the next step will be to put the tape on so that we can attach the spin wings. Now we have the tape on for the spin wings. We're going to go ahead and put our first spin wing on. Of course, once we get this tape off. It's pretty sticky. Okay. We go ahead and we're just going to line it right up. Right on there. Okay, that's one. On to number 2. 2. And number 3 coming right up. And number 3. Okay. So now we have the vanes, spin vanes on the arrow shaft. We just got to go and trim up some of this extra tape and put on the tape around the edges to keep these spin vanes down. The fletchings are now on, and we got to clear off this excess tape we got going on here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. It's going to get in the way, so break out the old knife and just lightly pinch it, and we're just going to roll it off. 1, 2, and 3. Look at that. Okay, put that knife down, and we're going to go to the final step, completing this arrow. Put some tape on it to keep these flaps down, so we keep this arrow nice and aerodynamic. Okay, so we put that on there. Not too much now. We don't need to add a million grains. You know, we want to keep these arrows light. That's how they have such a great advantage. How thin they are and how light they are. So we get the second one on. Spin it. Voila! Look at that. One completed Easton X10. Well, that concludes the construction of this arrow. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching Sure Shot Archery. Have a great day.